Hello, chaps, and welcome to this mod showcase for Threateningly Mobs by Tinky. This is for Minecraft version 1.20.1, Java Edition and Forge, and oh, this is a special mod. It adds even more most dangerous games to Minecraft. Why hunt man when you can hunt kaiju? So, let us get our crossbow, load it up with some arrows, and have a right well done safari hunt. Yes. Now, Threateningly Mobs adds about 40 additional mobs to the game of varying different degree in power. Each one is meant to go in its own biome. The documentation is a little bit spotty though, so I've tried my best to figure out which goes where through random encounter and reading what little bit I could. I think I have a pretty spectacular list. First, starting with nature, spirits, fairies, and other tree-dwelling goody two-shoes. Now, something you will encounter all the time is these nature fairies. Now, they make a noise like a parakeet in heat, which is quite loud and goes directly into both of your ears. There's probably some sort of happy-go-lucky interaction you can do with them, like feeding them apples, but in my books, they make excellent target practice and give you a large bundle of flowers to bring home to the missus. So, I think that's a better option. The more dangerous thing you might find in the woods is an earthlong. Now, I believe the earthlong is somehow based off Chinese dragons to a certain extent. There's another one. Got him. Yes, Chinese... They are bloody everywhere, aren't they? Chinese dragons to an extent. But Earth version. They're these things, the earthlong. Now, look at that. 250 hit points. That's a lot. And a lot of armor too. It's a very nice looking model. It's got a funny looking body. And they can sort of fly when they're falling. Now, if we are not indestructible, as we usually aren't, then they also become very electric. And it's not all, they also call down lightning strikes. So, dangerous chappies, which seem to be pernicious in their flying ability. Luckily, our crossbow is more pernicious than them. Still, a dangerous beast nevertheless, but it does drop quite a bit of wood and horns and meat. Reptilian flesh. Delicious. Now, one would presume a nature spirit is a happy little fairy, perhaps bosomly and wishing to show love to you in some extent, but no. The nature spirit of Threateningly Mobs is a giant slug. Well, snail, actually, but same thing, really. Yes, and it is absolutely hideous and adorable at the same time. Just look at him. Yeah. Doesn't seem to care about the wildlife, but he does care about us. Although luckily he's slow, but he does shoot snot. Now, we come to one of the problems of this mod, which is the AI seems to be absolutely abysmal at its accuracy. It's like it's got a few vectors at which it can shoot at, and if you're not standing directly on one of those lines, it will basically never hit you unless it's a point-blank shot. Which is a shame, because having accurate enemies makes combat very fun. Instead, we got this snail acid block to deal with, which I think just slows us down and might degrade armor. No, it's not even doing that. Now, our friend here is trying to get us. Oh, come on. There we go. Nope. Okay. Well, he is very inaccurate. But if we are close enough, he will just bite us. Come on, chap. There we go. He hits us with his eyeballs. Now that's just rude. Well, turn around is fair play, and my accuracy is much better. Wonderful sound effects when dying, even when alive he has some fun noises, and one of my favorite things about him is, he drops some wonderful golden apples. They're not quite the enchanted apples, but still, well, that's pretty good. But yes, now, still, these are dangerous enemies, not to be underestimated, but again, their AI just seems a little bit derpy or on the fritz or inaccurate, so this mod needs a little bit of love and care around the, what would you call it, the coding assembly side of things. The visuals, spectacular. Although, even getting the visuals lined up with the animations of walking and move speed might need a little bit of work. However, it is truly a shame that the mechanics, and that's what I was looking for, do not line up with the spectacularness of the models. So next to the desert. Now the desert is home to giant, creepy insectoid monstrosities. Such as this thing, the Solar Crab Maximus. Our faithful crossbow, in this case, doesn't actually work. This thing seems to be immune to arrows, as certain enemies are in this mod pack, which makes him a right pain to deal with. And he doesn't scrimp on the damage, like some sort of stag beetle tossing you into orbit. I've found in my long life of hunting and experiencing various enemies that if you can avoid being absolutely torn limb from limb by this beastie, the best way to deal with him is to try to find a source of water. For giant beetles do not make good swimmers. The other giant insect of the desert is equally interesting, if not disturbing, in mechanical appearance. And that is the armor of the desert, which is this thing. Which presumably those are eyeballs on its shields, and it just spins and looks at you. Now, it sends out these projectiles in the absolute wrong direction, which shoot up columns of flame, which would be very intimidating if they had any form of accuracy. And it also sends out these orbs, which hunt you down and explode. But you can also explode them yourselves. And they too seem to have some small lack of their own intelligence. Well, conceptually interesting is just a little too early. Now, the basalt wyvern's an interesting one. I've encountered it out in the wild, in fact. Now, this beastie seems to like whatever this horrible biome is. And it is quite literally a big-jawed dragon, making all the appropriate dragon sound effects, and it can fly. And they are interesting to fight as well. Yes, they enjoy their swooping, and they send out little tornadoes. And that's always fun. Who doesn't enjoy a good jostling about by tornado? They also have a projectile they fire as well, but as we seem to have found, projectiles are rather inaccurate. Although this one does cause a good-sized explosion. And of course, if you're close enough, well, he will just attack you with his footsies. But even then, no match for a crossbow bolt or two. There we go. Although I have found that after death sometimes these monsters still fire projectiles, if inaccurately at you, which is amusing. Out in these red desert sands, or just out and about really anywhere, so you may encounter a truly fearsome enemy, that being the Lich. And oh, just look at him, all long and gangly with a tiny little face. Oh, look at his tiny face. The Lich doesn't attack you directly, which is very cool. You can even get right up in his... Oh, never mind. Well, that's the first time he's ever hit me. What he usually does is he summons some undead. He has this tendency to turn sideways to teleport at you, which I always think is very cool. And then he does his bring up the air and upgrade them maneuver, which turns his zombies into fast-running armored juggernauts. Again, I think water is your friend here. Zombies can't swim, don't you know? Yes, as you can see, he has 275. Now, if you couldn't tell at this point, the idea behind this mod is to add freaking terrifying, threateningly mobs to the game. To make the game real challenging, to give you difficulty. Now, I believe that in tandem with mods, that this is a great idea. You have very overpowered mods that make you ridiculously strong, where you can have some very overpowered enemies without being too overpowered. I mean, you could even add these things to a vanilla game, and with the right setup, you could still fight them. It'd be difficult, no doubt, but you could still do it. Now, what we do need to work on, though, is these fellows' accuracy. Although I will say the Lich is one of the most threateningly mobs out there, with his undead summoning abilities, which are quite fun. Now, no special animation for him, he just keels over dead and drops all sorts of goodies. Lots of gold, too. Right, now then, crabs. Two different kinds of crabs. There's the beast horseshoe crab and the cannon crab. The cannon crab's a more classic crabloid. 60 HP, makes this weird ee noise, which gets on your nerves after a while. The water cannon crab, oh, he's a fierce beastie. Now, much like most of the other creatures in this mod, they seem to have terrible accuracy, but it's got nasty claws, so that makes up for it. Now, the other kind of crab is the beast horseshoe crab. 200,000 years of evolution. Oh, goodness. I was not expecting it to be that big. It appears that their size level is random, and sometimes they're much smaller than that. See? Way smaller. Way cuter. Much easier to manage. He also makes that annoying squeaky sound. He's a horseshoe crab. A cool feature they added to these horseshoe crabs. Yeah, we'll see if we get here. Yes, is their blood. Now, interesting fact. Horseshoe crab blood is incredibly useful. It can be used to detect bacteria in the vaccinations, drugs, and medical devices. It's basically very good at finding things and can be used in all sorts of processes. So it's an interesting idea that they use the horseshoe crab blood for brewing awkward potions. In the oceans, you might encounter these fellows at night or during the day, which are these tide specters. They are basically sea ghosts. More common at night. They sort of moo, but ghostly at you. And again, they're projectiles. Very inaccurate. Moving on, the giant sea cucumber. Now, giant sea cucumbers are like normal sea cucumbers. They're kind of worthless. They might spit their guts out in panic and then swim away, but besides that, they got nothing. They're just floating sea turtles. The Riptooth, on the other hand, is a giant demon shark. Very angry. They have their bite, but they also swallow you whole, and then keep chewing on you. Using the mouth mechanic is a very clever application of it. They can be a little bit derpy, but fish usually are, so I don't mind it. And look at their mouth parts they have. It's not a typical mouth, it's a whole bunch of them. Oh dear, there goes my hat. Well then, I shall have to make a new one. The Lord Main, a giant jellyfish of doom. They look like one of those Man of War jellyfish. But besides that, they really have not much more in common. It's just a floaty thing that deals a little damage. Maybe they do have a lot in common. It's hard to say. There's a sea hydra. Oh, look at those amounts of heads. Wonderful. I think look how small his eyeball is. It's on the inside of him, and it's at a diagonal. Now he fires projectiles, and he has a bite on him. I think that's the problem, though, with some of their shooting. It's where their eye is. They're just a giant entity cube. What is a man but a giant entity cube? Now, does the Hydra regenerate? No. It just looks like a Hydra, it talks like a Hydra, but it's not actually the main feature of a Hydra. Which is a great shame, because I like a good multi-headed Hydra. Still looks pretty, though, but I think you need that feature for a Hydra to truly hydrate you, you know? And if we look at the husk, we do see that he's got this sort of zone and protrudes in front of him. His eyeball line protrudes out of his hitbox, and his red sphere is right near his eye line. It's much better put together. And again, we will see that with the Moon Priest, its little eye line is not protruding from his head. And I think that might be causing the problem with his accuracy, is they're seen inside themselves. I'm not 100% certain how that all works, but it seems to be a commonality. Now, what's fun is if you attack the Moon Priest, he talks back at you. He's also has a lot of magic and scary things, so just makes him a fun fellow to hang around with. calling down a lightning strike to have some sort of quiet curse, am I? That is rude. Right then, I'll get that with. There's also a creature called the Forest Drake, and I don't know what to think about it. Because they're really funny looking. They're kind of cute. And they're really bouncy fellows too. Hello. They don't seem hostile immediately. I don't think they're tameable, but if you do engage with them, they will bite at you. And they're a little bouncy. They have their bite attack, but they also have their jump kick, which they try to land on you. Cute fellows, really. Now, one of the most disappointing mobs is the steel boar. It's so big and intimidating and epic looking, but in reality, it's so derpy. Its attacks are quite slow, it doesn't really charge you, it has a lot of problems interacting. It's just a big disappointment, which is a shame because it looks like it could be very, very cool. Now, a creature that does not disappoint me is our next one, and that is the Flamehorn. For rather than hurting our Flamehorn, we're going to make it our friend. Here we go, look at him, he's a good boy, this Flamehorn. Big old lizard, good nose, nice and chonky, and we can feed him a pet salad. Now, he might not be reciprocal to it, so we'll need to get a few more pet salads. There we go, that seems to be enough, and now we can get a saddle on. You've got yourself a Flamehorn. Not bad speed, look at him mosey. Good jump ability, a good climb. And if you attack something, he will too, which is good fun. The Regal Heart can be found in meadows, and I think that's quite appropriate by the mountain-sized, very pretty location. Regal Heart is this giant deer creature. Moss growing on its back, glowing eyes, majestic horn. It's actually quite pretty. They are fun to fight. I think they're one of the most well-rounded creatures given the derpiness. Now, he has an okay attack. Could get him Flamehorn. He also has this ability where he summons these vines which grab things. After he's taken enough damage, he may also do this. And he is suddenly fully healed. Still has a few derps with that attack, not having any sort of hurt box in front of it. He also has a good death animation too. Did you see how he just keeled over and then thud? Very good. Alright, next, Shadow Moon Butterfly. They just flutter about. At least they don't sound like a bird going roar. But kill them, they give you moon dust, what you might need in the future. Now, the Diplodocus is basically some sort of dinosaur that likes to crawl out of water. Here he is. Look at him. He's got flippers and stuff. It's a Diplodocus. Non-hostile. Don't really seem to do anything. I guess you can kill them for food and they make cool sounds. They look very cool. Here we have the creatures that I couldn't exactly figure out or find documentation where they belong. So we're just going to show them off as a general smattering. Now, flame larvae are just weird. Very slow, very pokey. They do have one cool effect, though, which is if you kill them, they light you on fire. The Ferrax Iceworm is awesome looking, but fails in execution. Look at this thing coming out of the sand, or ground. Now, when it came out of the ground, you feel like it should be like stop every once in a while, but that coming out of the ground animation should be like going. It should be like roar, boom, roar, boom, then stop and spraying the snow at you so you get trapped in it, you get chilly. But again, its accuracy is rather lacking. It doesn't move after it spawns. Now, it does scream and bite you something fierce, so at least it has that. They're just really derpy. Really, really derpy. Also, their hitbox is right rolled down in their tummy. You feel like it should be up there. Like I should be shooting in the head, but I'm not. I have to hit it down here. Feels a little incomplete. Death animation's good though. It's like it's 75% done, I think. That could be it, as a lot of these creatures just aren't done. Now, here we go, strong zombie. Look at the booty on that boy. Oh, we got a baby strong zombie. I don't think that's meant to happen. Now, the sandworms isn't what you think. It's this weird little megally creature that runs really fast. I actually kind of hate his movement animation. They're awful. Don't like them at all. Dracula-Paws is a giant scorpion that, well, it attacks you with its stinger-ass claws. I think they're meant to be some sort of ender scorpion dragon monster. They're poisonous too. But the sound they make, oh god, this is irritating. They need a new sound. Like, give them the silverfish sound. That sound just not suiting. Silverfish sound, or spider sound. Give them a bass spider sound. Take the spider sound, and increase the bass on it to like the nth degree, and then they'll go like, yes. Tall mouse are probably found underground, but they're just creepy. They're like a mouse, what should I call it? You know, those Australian things. A mouse kangaroo. But not a kangaroo mouse. Frostbite is basically a Yeti elemental. Has a punch and a pound. Ice Fairy Guardian. I think is a friend? Yes, he is a friend. He is trying to help us in our fight against this guy. Go get him, Ice Fairy Guardian. And probably it comes from some sort of interaction with the Ice Fairy, I presume. You probably feed the Ice Fairy, I don't know, like blue ice? It becomes your friend? No, doesn't seem to be working. What about a amethyst? No. So we'll just have to speculate. Cave hunters are just awful. Actual insects in the world exist like this. At least they're not this size, but I'm not happy about the thought of these things. They're unpleasant looking creatures, aren't they? Isn't that awful? Ugh, I hate it. Knowledge fairies can be bred with other knowledge fairies by giving them books, and this will give you even more knowledge fairies. Then knowledge fairies can be slain for enchanted books, which sometimes bug out. Yes. Now, the earth drill is probably found underground, and it resembles a giant pile of ore, but if you upset it, it turns into an enemy from Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. Behold, the Death Buzzsaw. Well, the scariest enemies in Ocarina of Time. They're also really tough, but they do drop whatever resource they represent. So it's a worthwhile trade. Maybe. Now, the Ferex Deathworm, again, comes out of ground, looks so cool, looks like a Kashkini Riving, but it doesn't. Probably found in the desert, and this one just breathes blobs of acid and fire, and it also bites you. Chomp. Finally, we have the Hypocritical Saint, which I believe is an incomplete boss entity for this mod. He's got a book in hand, and he looks cool. But look at this dude. You don't want to encounter him in a dark alley. It's one of those problems where his textures disappear if you get too close. Little halo behind him, there's a book, little booties, those creepy walking. However, at the moment, he doesn't do anything, so leave it there. The summoning altars. You can find these out and about in the world. There's some are underwater, some are above land. And if you can't happen to find the enemy, you can then summon them. Basically, it's like the idea of some sort of exchange recycling. There's normal summon, advanced summon, and ultra summon. Normal summon, you craft the stone with magic dust, which you can make from that glow fairy. Then you come to the altar, and you put the normal summon thing on, and it will look very cool, looks very pretty, and it will summon some of the normal tier monsters. There we go. Summoned a pack of these Draco Scorpius. The advanced summoning slate requires the normal summoning slate. Some of the items you can get from those things dropping and get more magic dust. And this altar doesn't seem to refresh, so you have to be kind of careful using it. Putting it in the top seems buggy too. Putting it in the base works though. There we go. So this should be an advanced summon. And this will give us one of the more powerful enemies, like the Armor of the Desert. And then the final one is the Ultra Summon, which requires some of those Guardian cores that you get from those things, or Moon Priest things, Need the advanced summoning stone, again like the others. This will make a very big summoning altar ritual, and this will summon the boss monsters of the mod. 4 different boss monsters, one of them is found underwater, 3 are found on land. There we go, we've got the Doom Dinosaur. That is the Terra Dragon. This kind of big and epic looking fellow here. It's like a dinosaur. Very cool. He has 400 health, is immune to projectiles. And he summons those pillars as well, and he fires explosive projectiles with horrible accuracy. Now he also melees you. Now those pillars actually are all around him in a circle, so I think it works. Now he will slap you with his tail, and that's fun. If you're close enough, he goes, ow, well, does that. But he'll also slap you with his tail and hit you with his head. So he's got a good variety of attacks. Titan Rabbit is basically a kaiju rabbit. And wherever it lands, it destroys. So don't summon it near anywhere important. It's got that horrible bladed rat tail thing. He's unpleasant looking. He's unpleasant looking in a good way though. And I think his strategy works. Just jump and land. Although I think he's got a bit of nether behavior, which is he's just going to try to kill things. Now he's not immune to projectiles. He's got only 500 health. So interesting boss enemy. His AI still seems a little bit fritzy, but it's okay. And the Inferno is Gojira. Not exactly, actually. Let's get a better look. It's like tall, skinny Gojira. It looks cool. It's like a mutated one of those Earthlongs. Jaw and everything, but it's much taller. Now, its walking animation, though, it doesn't line up at all, and it's all derpy in the middle. So silly looking, especially when it's running. Like, I don't know what's going on with that. That's not good. He attacks with his little claws, sweeps with his tail. Come on, give me a breath attack. There we go. He does have like an atomic breath ray, which is fun. Does the path of explosions. But unfortunately, it's just so utterly derpy that I can't take it seriously at all. And the final one is the Abyssal Fang. This is my least favorite of the bosses. It's basically a giant doom whale of death. Ton of health. It just bites, and that bite will kill you. And it has this little charge attack swim, which is, it'll just try to get you, but then its bite is like really derpy and hard to hit with. But then it has a sprint attack, and goodness me. Yeah, look at him go after those squids. Like, he just swims for it now. This is intimidating. Like, it's cool, but it is not fun to fight. Trident would probably help you fight the Abyssal Fang. And he hits oh so hard. Besides those boss monsters, there is one final location we want to look at before we go back to the lab. We've completed most of our hunting trip, which is there is a dungeon this mod adds. It's very recently added too, which is kind of fun. Underground forest dungeon. Down we go, underground. And here we are. Now this place is full of all sorts of bugs and all sorts of treasures, and not error bugs, but bugs. Treasure, pretty basic treasure. Not bad. This cool looking interior. We got some monster spawners to spawn the shadow spiders. Here are the shadow spiders, these little guys down here. We've got some of these aphids as well. And somewhere in here we will find the treasure room with the treasure guardian. It's kind of like the Earthlong, but in its true form, being more Chinese dragon than shambling about lizard. Very, very cool. Though it does have almost 2,000 health, which makes it rather, I think, too strong. Even given the goals of this mod, that is just a little too much health. Well, you could, though, have this mod in another mod that gives you really overpowered items. There is one flaw to that, though. We'll get to that flaw of having really overpowered items to fight these things. And that is, well, he does drop really nice amounts of treasure and a summoning thing, so it's like a worthwhile fight, but also he guards this here, which is surrounded by obsidian, but then if you get in here, these chests are just absolutely full of like all the loot. But this loot isn't worthwhile, because if you have a mod that lets you fight him properly, then this loot is okay, but it's not great, right? So that's one of the problems with him having that much health. It's just a slog to get through, so this loot isn't actually worthwhile finding, even though it's cool. And the other problem is, well, all these things are dropping stuff, right? And they're dropping things to make items. And these are really cool items. 22 attack, like that's epic. But they don't match the strength of the Earthlong. Like the other things I can see them matching the threatening mod strength, because the idea of threateningly mods, they're meant to be challenging, they're meant to be difficult, and so getting these items could help you a little bit, but that boss in here is just too much health. Like, give him 800 even, and that's more reasonable than the 1,800. Right, so back at our lab, go inside. Some items and things can be acquired. The Riptooth can give you tools. It can give you the Riptooth pickaxe, the Riptooth axe, the Riptooth sword, and there is a Riptooth hoe and shovel. Currently don't have recipes. The Riptooth items in general are a little bit worse than their diamond counterparts, besides the axe, which deals slightly more damage. The scorpions, if slain, will drop their Dragoscorpus stinger. The stinger can then be turned into a sword with some iron ingots. And this gives you the Dragoscorpus sword, which looks very cool. Deals 6 damage. Deals poison too. Doesn't say that on the sword, but it does. The Guardian Core that you get from that one bug with a crystal obsolescence can turn to a Guardian statue, which right-click to place a statue, which will automatically clear monsters. So we have to try this. So we'll take some default husks, and I'm worried it might clear entities, because who knows what programs might do. So we'll put down some husks, and we'll put down the Guardian statue. And he's turned on. And they're attacking him. However, I think he attacks back at a little bit of range. Oh, that's pretty cool, actually. I like that. It's a Guardian statue. It is what it says it is. Very neat. There's also, you can get the item, the skeletal necklace, and combine that with some leather, paper, and gold. And you can get the skeletal book, which casts on the ground. It gives you a skeletal minion. Best friend forever. My goodness. This might be all you need to beat things. Durability is 4 out of 5. You know, kill some liches. And you can use these just to win every fight. You can also get this book apparently enchanted with Unbreaking and Mending. So, yeah, if you get one of these books, get Mending on it. Mending 1. How's Mending work? If you have XP, it will use gaining XP to repair the item in hand. Yes. Excellent. The Moonstaff at the moment appears to be broken, so not much to go into with it. You can also combine monster fragments in various different combinations of deadliness and dangerous to get these Emperor items. So we have the Emperor's Handle, which you can see there's a bunch of different combinations of monster bits that are required to get it at different levels. There is the Emperor Core and the Emperor Blade. Again, different monster bits with different stable fragments put together will give you each one of these items. Some of them requiring boss monster pieces for this core here, and semi-boss monster pieces like the Demon Eye and all those things. And when all is said and done and you get all of them, you can combine them all together and make the Ebon Lord's Sword, which is this giant badass looking sword. Reach 3. Now, I'm no reach doctor, but I feel like this should have a reach of 9. With how ridiculously huge it is. That's just my own opinion, though, of course. That's a lot of damage, though. It definitely outclasses these in damage. It's 22 damage a hit. Crit. It's pretty good, actually. Crits get much better the higher up. And it's enchantable as well, of course. You can give it sharpness to increase its attack damage, smite, and all those good things. Bane of Arthropod, knockback, fire aspect, looting. Still, I don't know if it's worth it, honestly. Especially if you have mods. Because why you get this mod, right, is because you need some strong enemies for your modded playthrough. So you have strong enemies for your modded playthrough. And then the rewards they give you don't entirely seem worth it. Now, those skeletons seem worth it, but the Ebon Sword, I don't know if it is worth it or not. The other idea behind this is these are meant to be rare enemies that only occasionally show up, so it makes progression much slower. So the other idea, the actual... Here, let me read the mod description. This mod introduces several new mobs designed to make survival significantly more challenging. Specifically, their purpose is to hinder your progress. These mobs often possess unique abilities or resistances, and some may even target your livestock. Each biome now features one more new creatures, categorized in medium and heavy types. Medium mobs typically have HP of 40 or more, while heavy mobs boast HP of 200 or higher. Additionally, some functional utility mobs have been added. Most of the mobs are hostile towards a player, with abilities that make them even more dangerous. Their HP is often several times higher, or even 10 times higher than vanilla mobs, making them formidable opponents. Recommend to avoid them whenever possible. So that's the idea behind this mod. So if we get behind that idea, it makes sense. But then these items don't make sense unless it's like a semi-reward to compensate them for you. That being said, in some retrospect, recent mod packs I've played have had extremely overpowered items. So when I'm thinking of very strong enemies, I think about overpowered items, which make the very strong enemies not so strong. So my perception is a little skewed here. Now we've got some other spare items as well that you can be crafted. We got the Earth Punch, which is when holding this equipment in both hands, it will be strengthened. So we've got one Earth Punch currently, and that is made with the nature shells, but if we have two Earth Punches, we might get a different result. So, one Earth Punch, that is 5.5 damage. Now we have two Earth Punches, and we are given resistance and speed. So we can punch a little bit faster. That's fun. I like that. Also looks good too. And we've also got these two cool items, which is the Great Battle Sword, which is made with beetle battle horns, Battle Greatsword. And that just looks cool in our hand too. Should also have higher reach. And its damage is better and it's a little bit slower. And then we've got this Mega Shell Shield, which is made by the Flame Shell. And as always, the husk for testing. Exceptionally high durability on the shield compared to a normal shield. We've also got these desert items, which were made from desert armor, which is this guy. I kind of was hoping the helmet would actually cover my eyes, not just sit on my head. That's mildly disappointing. I do like the ribs in it. It looks cool. But I was hoping it'd cover your eyes. It's still a good looking piece of armor though. I like it. And then finally, we've got our items in back here, which are gained through making these Ebon Lord ingots, which require monster bits, usually boss parts, to make. And if you have enough of them, you can make the Ebon Lord armor sets, as shown here. Requiring gold, which is fun. I like it when gold is required. And this stuff, well, it blows diamonds out of the water, even netherite in fact. There's no comparison here. This stuff is incredibly strong, very high value. Just imagine it with enchantments. There's definitely a strange mod to consider. There's a lot of factors to it. I do enjoy it. I don't think it's a Vanilla Plus mod though. It doesn't look like Vanilla Minecraft. It's more of a Fantasy Plus mod. If you want to add threateningly mobs to your game, then I think you can go ahead and get some threateningly mobs added in. And they will be a fun time. Adds an extra challenge, could be the new, make a mod pack with it, the new whatever stupid, oh, this mod pack's impossible, have you tried playing this one? This one's really hard. So you could do that with it. They look cool. I think they need a little bit more work, so maybe wait a few updates and then you'll get the true proper version of it. I think they're very pretty looking at the very least. It's fun to work on. A lot more simple than trying to mess with that genetics mod I was trying to do before this. But yeah, it was a mod. No fire and ice, but that's hard to compete with, to be perfectly honest. Fire and ice is very hard to compete with. Still good. Just needs a lot of tweaking and a lot of work, and then it can probably become a pretty great mod. You'll get there in the end. Anyways, thank you very much for watching. Thank you to Blush Powder, patron. You're a cool dude. And until the next video, have a good one, and good luck.